Hello and welcome to my site. This is an informational website about the dangers of distracted driving, and the intended audience is teenage drivers. I chose this audience because statistics show that teenagers are particularly endangered by this bad habit, and many are killed each year because of doing that. I chose to include information from various sources, and I'm going to elaborate on those a little later, but they range from statistics from the CDC to a viral YouTube video to websites with tips to avoid using your phone while driving to social media campaigns. So there's a lot of variety there. I chose these types of sources because I think they'll resonate more with younger audiences who have a strong media presence and who also spend a lot of time on YouTube. A strong social media presence, excuse me. My site can help increase someone's literacy by introducing the idea that there's a need for information on this subject. So I hope when they read some of the rather alarming statistics, they'll realize there's a need for them to be informed on this subject, and the quick links on the site will help them locate more information about it, which they will then evaluate and hopefully know how to apply in a real-world setting behind the steering wheel. So I'd like to talk a little about the actual design of the site. I chose a basic gray, black, and white layout to set a more serious and solemn tone for the site and make it real easy on the eyes. Some of the numbers here are much larger and colored, you can see that here, to emphasize them and make the reader question and then hopefully remember their importance. The rest of the text is smaller in comparison and to make the important numbers pop. The layout is also really simple to avoid unnecessary density, and it includes a lot of white space to attract the eye to featured graphics and text and make it easier for anyone with a low literacy level to read and understand. This site got a SMOG index score of 6.6, meaning you would need a little over 6.5 years of education, so like to be in the 6th grade, in order to read it. This is a good reading level because the majority of teens reading this will likely be in high school, but they might not be reading on a high school level. So with the site being on a 6th grade level, hopefully more teens can comprehend it and comprehend it easily. So I'm going to talk about the feedback I received and which parts of the site that feedback influenced a little bit later, but I want to go ahead and get started. Right now I'm on the home page of my site. You can see this photo of an empty road. I'm talking about driving. And it's also a little ominous to kind of invite your curiosity. And to hook the audience, I included instructions to close your eyes and count to 5, and then to imagine driving with your eyes closed for that long. And if the audience did so, then the rest of the text is a lot more impactful. So you can read my introductory statistics here. I'm not going to read them to you, but they emphasize why distracted driving is such an issue to teenagers, and hopefully they'll provide a little incentive to stop doing it. Here's where I use those big colored numbers to emphasize the statistics, and I colored the word "you" down here to show you the reader's responsibility. And here you can see the sources for the statistics I used. I put them down at the bottom so they're accessible if you want to know, but they're not distracting. So moving on to my next part, which is don't be a statistic. That kind of answers the question on the home page of how you will avoid becoming a statistic. And you saw that little action there. There's some animation to kind of grab your attention and encourage you to read on. And when you do read on, you will come to these 4 links. And because teenagers are so active on YouTube, the first link you'll see here is a viral video that was in a Beijing movie theater. You click on it, it pops up to this YouTube video. I'm not going to show the whole thing for time's sake, but you'll click that and come to that YouTube video. It's really impactful. I encourage you to watch it. The next part here is resist the temptation. So this is going to take you to this site, which gives you these tips on how to stop texting and driving, strategies to avoid being a distracted driver. There's also a lot of other stuff here, how to become an advocate, more facts or videos if you're interested. Our next one is to invite you to join the fight. So Teens Against Distracted Driving. This is an online campaign that is exactly what it says. They're teenagers who are against distracted driving. And it gives you some stories of teenagers who have died behind the wheel because of texting and driving. It's a really great site. It includes even more resources and a blog about the issue. And lastly, there is a social media campaign, #X. You can click here and it'll tell you a little bit more about it. But it pauses the conversation. So if you send hashtag X to someone, it says, hey, I'm driving right now, don't text me. And it also gives you, or gave me rather, a hashtag to look and see if people were talking about this on Twitter or Facebook, which is really handy. So I really liked these 4 resources, especially for teenagers, and I hope you do. Moving on, you are not alone. So I really wanted to point out, when I was researching this topic and making the site, I realized that it's not only teenagers who are using their phone while driving. Adults are having a real problem with it too, and there's some statistics here from the CDC. 69% of adults admitted to talking on the phone, and a lot are reading or responding to emails. So this part is to let teens know that they're not the only ones and that they can make a difference. It says to encourage your parents and family members to take the pledge, and this is where the infographic that I created comes in. It compares teenagers and adults in terms of what they're doing while they're driving with their phone. So you can see here that more teens text than adults, but more adults email than teens, and as well as social media. More teens are on social media while driving, more adults are talking. But these bars here point out the fact that it's pretty much equal, even though they're doing different things. These little circle graphs here point out the fact that 99% of adults and 96% of teens believe that using a phone while driving is dangerous. So they know that this is dangerous, but yet they continue to do it anyway. And at the bottom is a little call to action. So it invites you to take the pledge, which you can do if you scroll up and go to the Take the Pledge button. So it lets you know the fight to end distracted driving starts with you. I'm not going to read this to you, but it lets you know what you are pledging to by taking the pledge. And when you click the link, you have taken the pledge, and it gives you the option to share on Facebook or Twitter that pledge with others, and also shows you the number of pledges that have been taken thus far. So that is that. I will go back here to my actual website, and now I want to talk about the feedback that I received. So to gather feedback, I created a simple little Google Doc, and you can see that right here. There is a Likert scale to rate the following things. Is it easy to navigate? Is the infographic easy to understand? Is it visually appealing? Do you feel the resources were appropriate, helpful, and educational? And I also included a box here for demographics to know that my target audience was indeed my target audience, and also a place to include any comments. So I sent this to 3 people, and the Google document automatically populates the results in this pretty little chart here. You can see here my demographics included 3 people, all from my target audience, which is good. They all said that the site was easy to navigate, gave me a 5. They all said that the infographic was easy to navigate, or easy to understand rather, and gave me a 5. 2 of the people felt the site was highly visually appealing and gave me a 5, and 1 felt that it was a 4 on that scale, and 2 felt that it was a 4 on the resources being appropriate, helpful, and educational, and 1 felt that it was a 5. But the really important part here is the comments. So I got the homepage is a little boring. Now this was on the rough draft of the site that the feedback was received for. So to combat that, I actually went back and put this picture of the road in and colored the numbers to make it a little less boring, hopefully make it pop and spice it up a bit. And another girl said, well, perhaps a girl, the Take the Pledge link only lets you take the pledge. It doesn't really point out what you are pledging to do. So for that, I realized that was a really great point, and I added down here what taking the pledge pledges to do. Sorry, that was a little redundant. But before the site was revamped, it only had that link to take you to the pledge and didn't tell you what you were actually pledging to do. So that is my site, and I hope you enjoyed and learned something along the way. Thanks for watching.